What in the world's going on with this armor? The moment I put it on, all of my pain went away. I feel as though there's something violent boiling up from within.
Let go.
I see.
Let go.
This
Let go of everything.
is my...
Let go. Let go of everything. Let go!
Sometimes the only way to slay a monster is to become one. Such is the price of protecting the ones you love. But who will protect them from the monster you've become? Guts is a monster. But Guts is also a human. Though his rage and grief tend to take over when face to face with a demon, Guts manages to stay focused. He uses his anger as fuel to keep standing. For protecting the ones that matter to him, that's all he wants. But what if his anger fully takes charge? What happens when Guts loses control? Well, then that line, the line between protecting and harming, can be blurred. In chapter 221, we see Guts barely escape the troll den with his life thanks to Skull Knight and his sword, after Guts defeats Slan. As a result, the realm of Cliffeth dissipates, revealing the beautiful forest that was hidden underneath. Finally, our crew is safe, or so we think. In the chapter right after, Flora can be seen creating some type of magic seal while conversing with the Skull Knight. They appear to be working on a mysterious item, though we can make out what appears to be a chest plate. Isn't it nostalgic? Flora says to the Skull Knight, as if they both have history with this item. The Skull Knight emphasizes how dangerous the object is. However, the mage says that apart from dangerous, it will also be necessary for the crew to succeed on their journey. The Skull Knight remains adamant that the danger exceeds any gain, as the object is karmic, doomed to repeat any and all misuse of it. However, Flora disagrees. She says that karma is not a circle, it's indeed a spiral. One is not forced to repeat the same mistakes, they choose to. Leaving the spiral is possible, but an uphill battle. Those children are not bound to the same paths you and I did, Flora says to the Skull Knight. Immediately, we see that something is wrong. The magical barrier that Flora had created to guard the forest has gotten weak. So weak that demons start swarming the forest. The Skull Knight, unfazed, leaps from the mage's home and prepares to protect the forest. Flora thanks him and addresses him as her old friend. As the crew approaches Flora's home, Guts faints from his injuries. Shirky inspects Guts' wounds and sees that they are fully healed. However, physical wounds are only superficial. Shirky says that Guts' ethereal body is still wounded and can only be healed with the help of Flora's elixir back at the mansion. Guts then stands up swiftly, and as if nothing had happened, he keeps walking, saying he's just a little dizzy. However, Shirky knows better. She explains how an ethereal wound is a wound to one's soul directly. Wounds that a goblin cannot inflict. How is Guts even conscious? Guts explains that, long story short, he won. With one stab from the Dragon Slayer, Slan, the monster who pretends to be an angel, her assumed form at least, was slain. Shirky suddenly can feel a tremendous odd coming from deep in the forest, from Flora's mansion. She can feel the barrier dissolving. Guts can feel them too, thanks to the brand of sacrifice bleeding profusely, way more than normal. Guts can tell that the threat in front of them is greater than some simple demon or troll. It's simply them. There is smoke everywhere. The mansion is on fire. As we start the next chapter, it becomes obvious that the enemy forces are apostles. Guts, without a second thought, lunges into the horde, slicing an apostle from shoulder to chest. Unfazed, the apostle throws Guts back. This won't be a normal fight. Our enemies are not just monsters, they are something more. Before the apostle can attack Guts, the Skull Knight jumps in and kills it, protecting our beloved protagonist. After Guts asks the Skull Knight why he is here, He simply says that he has ties to Flora. That's why he was at the troll den as well. The apostles ask for the Skull Knight's name, but he refuses. "I have no name to give to mere apostles," he says. He is disgusted by their existence. The very thought of them makes him sick. He only says that he's the one that opposes the 5 angels. The apostles recognize him from the eclipse, where their master was reincarnated. Hearing this, Guts realizes that they must be referring to Griffith. This thought is only confirmed further when Nosferatu Zod himself emerges from the vile crowd, happy at the fact that he gets to meet both Guts and the Skull Knight at the same place. Zod confirms that their master is Griffith, the one determined to rule over all inhumans. Zod is then joined by more apostles, but these ones look different, stronger. We see Grunbeld, a giant apostle that we were introduced to in chapter 184. He wants to be the one to slay Guts. He says that he has heard rumors of a black swordsman killing apostles left and right, the human that survived the unsurvivable eclipse. Grunbeld then says some words that hit Guts in an unparalleled way. "I, Grunbeld, as a warrior of the Band of the Hawk, call upon the black swordsman in single combat." Guts' mind goes blank. The Band of what? Hearing Grunbeld say that he is part of the Band of the Hawk is a cut so deep for Guts. The Band of the Hawk, whose accursed leader sacrificed everyone in the highest form of treason, is being rebuilt, as if all the band went through meant nothing to Griffith. Guts cannot accept this. Shirky can hear her mentoress from inside the flame. "Get that to the Black Swordsman," she says, as it is revealed that what Flora and the Skull Knight were working on and discussing previously was a full-body armor. Grunbeld raises his mighty hammer and strikes at Guts. Although Guts guards himself with a Dragon Slayer, the force of the strike throws him back quite a distance, like getting hit with a battering ram. Guts can now see that the monster in front of him is far stronger than a simple apostle. He grips his sword and strikes at Grunbeld, still not able to get over the fact that an apostle can simply say they are a part of the most sacred thing to Guts, the former Band of the Hawk. Guts' strike yields no result, as Grunbeld strikes him with his shield and attempts to strike him with a hammer as well. Guts deflects the attack and quickly rolls away, trying to gain some distance. Grunbeld compliments the craftsmanship of the sword that managed to deflect 2 hits of his warhammer without shattering. However, Guts cannot keep going like this. Without his armor, every hit from the apostle is brutal and debilitating. Meanwhile, we see that Shirky and the rest of the crew are headed for the mansion's treasury, where the item that Flora instructed Shirky to give Guts is located. The young mage now understands that she, the Magus, is Guts' only hope for survival. Once inside the treasure room, we see the armor, menacingly sitting as if alive and ready to be used. Guts is still in grave danger, being thrown around by Grunbeld over and over again. As Grunbeld mocks Guts, uncertain how such a lowly human could ever kill an apostle, let alone dozens, the one who crossed swords with Zod and survived is a weakling. Grunbeld then raises his shield towards Guts, revealing that underneath the formidable metal is a cannon barrel. Guts instantly recognizes the danger of the weapon, as he himself has a cannon arm. But before he can dodge, the apostle blasts him with a cannon. Guts is however saved by one of Flora's golems, who in turn combine into a giant golem, defending Guts from Grunbeld. Shirky speaks to Guts telepathically, calling him inside the treasure room where the armor is located. As the apostle is preoccupied with the puppeteered golems, we see Guts wounded in the treasure room with the rest of the crew. An apostle is trying to barge in and get them. Guts grabs Shirky's hand and with a slight smile lets her know that he is okay, placing his trust in her. The crew swiftly dress Guts in the armor, and as the monster finally breaks in, Guts pushes Isidro off of him. We see the menacing dark silhouette of the armor as Guts finally stands up to face the apostle. Outside, Grunbeld is looking for the Black Swordsman, waiting for the glorious fight he was expecting. The apostle that was attacking the crew in the treasure room comes back out in a panic. He says that he ate Guts, but he's not dead as he should be. As the Apostle pleads for help, the Dragon Slayer emerges from the inside of the monster and pierces its face. Then with multiple fast slices, Guts shreds the beast from the inside, with unparalleled speed. Guts is standing there, on top of the corpse of the Apostle, ready for a fight, when another Apostle lunges at him from a tree. It bites down on Guts, but that doesn't faze him. He slices the Apostle in half as if it was a fly on his shoulder. It rains blood as Guts is standing in the armor, looking like a monster himself. Grunbeld doesn't even recognize Guts for a second, only knowing it's him because of the Dragon Slayer. Zod, however, recognizes the armor itself as the armor that once belonged to the Skull Knight, asking him if he will have Guts walk the same horrible path to hell like he did. Guts can feel the effect of the armor. He can feel the pain from the wounds, but it's like he doesn't even care. The pain doesn't matter now. It doesn't bother him. All that matters is this feeling, this impulse inside of Guts, as if a voice from deep within his soul is calling out to him, demanding that Guts surrenders everything to it, a beast of darkness, commanding Guts to yield. As the beast takes hold of Guts' mind and influences him, we can see that the armor itself starts to change, as if adapting to Guts' wrath. The helmet contorts in a way that makes it appear like a dog's head, and like a wolf, Guts lunges at Grunbeld faster and harder than before. The Apostle manages to push Guts back, mocking him for even trying to attack him in such a way. Guts does not care. Planting his sword in the ground, he uses it to jump and spin in such a way that the imminent strike from the Dragon Slayer will be much stronger than if he had just swung it. The strike is so strong that it shatters Grunbeld's shield, a shield that can even defend against cannon fire. No human can move like that, the Apostle says. The armor is not holding Guts back, it's enabling him to move faster and strike harder than ever before. Much like the Apostles, Guts is no longer just human. Guts grabs the Apostle's shield and places the barrel of the cannon arm inside of Grundle's shield cannon and fires, breaking the shield completely. The crew can't help but marvel at the sight of Guts fighting like a monster. But Shirky adds that Guts is in danger. She says that the armor doesn't heal Guts' wounds, but it simply makes Guts' pain non-existent and non-important. Shirky refers to the armor as the Berserker Armour, the one that wears the armor and aligns with its ominous flow of odd, truly becomes a savage. Guts feels so much hate that pain means nothing, surpassing the human limit, but risking his life at the same time. Grunbeld praises Guts for his strength as the archenemy of the Apostles and swings at him again. Guts jumps over the hammer and with a swing of the Dragon Slayer dents the hammer. His second swing is even more devastating as it goes through the hammer, through the horn of Grunbeld's helmet, and through his shoulder, landing a severe hit. We can see from the blood pouring out of the armor that Guts is not unscathed. Even the force needed to wound an Apostle like that is above the capabilities of a human body. The Apostle is ecstatic at the strength and skill of Guts, praising him for his abilities and even admitting defeat as a warrior before he transforms into his true Apostle form. A massive dragon creature that is covered in diamond-like crystals called Corundrum. It swings its tail at the black swordsman, striking him. However, Guts does not move. He stops the attack, but suffering visible damage inside of the armor. Guts then drives the Dragon Slayer into the Apostle's head and is pushed back. We see that the dragon's skin, although made from Corundrum, a crystal harder than steel, is still cracked. Guts is more than wounded. He is bleeding profusely from every part of his body, and his left arm is completely broken. However, the armor itself restores the damage dealt to him. The armor reinforces the broken limbs of Guts by force, digging into his flesh and forcibly connecting the bones together. Shirky adds that as far as she knows, the previous owner of the armor was in a similar way devoured by the armor, fighting on and on until the last drop of blood drained from his body. Without knowing how to help Guts in such a state, Shirky asks Flora for guidance. Flora says that only Shirky can help Guts. As a witch, she is able to. Shirky promises to try, making a circle around her and telling the rest to watch her back. We see Shirky in her astral form, trying to approach Guts in order to help. She can see the manifested form of Guts' hate that has engulfed him. Shirky approaches the fiery beast and enters the mind of Guts. She can see fragments of memories long gone, comrades, friends, and lovers, all like lanterns guiding Shirky to Guts' core. Shirky is suddenly overwhelmed by visions of the eclipse, the vivid memory of betrayal that Guts must carry with him forever. The witch is almost swept away, but she sees in the center of all this darkness the seal that Flora had made in the start of chapter 222. Inside of the seal lies Guts' ego. It appears that the talisman was made to protect the wearer's soul from the ferocity of the armor. Shirky pleads for Guts to calm down, but his hatred is too much. All Guts wants is to kill. Guts is stuck in a loop of anger and hate, wanting to slay not only apostles, but everything standing in front of him. Suddenly, Guts sees a vision from within his anger. Casca. Shirky grabs the opportunity and reminds Guts of his struggle, who he is, what he is fighting for. Guts, the Black Swordsman, protector of Casca, the branded girl. Instantly, Guts snaps out of his rage, and the armor gives way. As Grunbel breathes fire on Guts, he dodges out of the way, this time ignoring the giant and heading straight for Serpico and Isidro, who are being attacked by apostles, saving them. As Casca and Farnese are about to be attacked by an apostle, Guts slices the apostle's head from the back. The mask falls off, revealing a wounded but slightly smiling Guts. He is happy Casca is safe, even if she no longer trusts him. We see that Grunbeld is now chasing Isidro, Serpico, and Shirky. Guts is about to assist them when flame falls from the sky. Flora is here to buy them some time by creating a massive wall of fire. Flora instructs the crew to leave as the forest is about to burn down. The forest will be gone, and the domain will close. The time has come to leave the nest. Go forth from here and find your own path, my dearest student. Flora gives her goodbyes to Shirky as Guts grabs her and saves her from a falling branch. It's time to go. Although this is the end of Flora as we know her, she won't be dead. She promises to visit Shirky in her dreams, leaving us with her last words. Whether you grasp the fate before you is up to you. May your going forth be blessed, sweet beloved child. Farewell, my sunshine. Our crew is saved. However, the forest is now ablaze. Shirky's home is gone. Nothing will ever be the same. Guts is now the owner of the Berserker Armour, a useful tool that has very big drawbacks. One cannot simply use the armor without making a bond with it. It's a symbiotic relationship. The armor will keep you alive as long as you give it your soul. Give in to your grief and anger. Shed your humanity for strength, just like Griffith did long ago. A curse and a blessing. The Berserker Armour is to Guts as Guts is to his crew, the biggest protector and most dangerous threat. Without the help of Shirky, Guts cannot calm himself in a fight. He is already fast to anger. With the armor, however, the line between friend and foe quickly vanishes. The Berserker Armour was forged by a dwarf named Hanar, made to combine with the wearer and bring forth their most violent self. As we learn in chapter 362, inside the armor there are memories of its past holder, the Skull Knight. Guts sees visions of an eclipse he wasn't part of. He sees Void and some other creatures, and is visibly angered, breaking from the restraints that Hanar had placed on him. Suddenly, Guts sees a vision of a white-haired person in his arms. The branded beloved of the Skull Knight can be seen bleeding in his arms, the Lady Priestess of the Cherry Blossoms. What Guts saw, in Skull Knight's words, was the end of a once foolish king and the beginning of a wraith wandering through the endless night. It's obvious that using the armor and staying sane is no small feat. Like Guts, Skull Knight is driven by deep love and hatred, and endless fury. Like two sides of the same coin. Guts' challenge will be defying the destiny laid upon him by the armor. He must not repeat the mistakes of the Skull Knight if he wishes for his end to be any different. As Guts consumes his enemies, the Berserker Armour will do the same to him. As it currently stands, Guts will have to come face to face with his anger and fight it, lest it consumes him and his dear companions. Thank you for watching my essay on the Berserker Armour. See you next time.